is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at dorothylanemusic.com. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to Ruel's Running Podcast. I'm your host, Ruel. Welcome to another episode of this silly show. How are you doing? How is everybody doing? I'm on the go. So, I'm kind of excited. Actually, I'm really excited. I'm very proud of some things that have been going on. And in addition to Ruel's Running Podcast, I've partnered up, as you know, having listened to this podcast, I've partnered up with Lonnie Beecham over at Restoration in Jefferson City, Missouri. And, we have the Service Guys podcast. The Service Guys podcast is sponsored by Restoration in Jefferson City, Missouri. And secondly, sponsored by ABNMstudios.com. And I'm really proud, and I know by the time Lonnie listens to this episode, it'll be a little past, but we've had some really interesting and awesome guests on the Service Guys pod, and Lonnie's lined up a couple of more guests, and they're really special in our lives. As you know, listening to the show, there's a NSNG connection, no sugar, no grains connection, and NSNG is a Vinnie Tortorich trademark and brand and lifestyle that I've learned years ago. So the next couple of guests are going to have a big connection, an important connection. So looking forward to that. Really proud of Lonnie and the level of podcasting that he's taken the show. And I'm excited, and I look forward to continuing on this journey on that podcast. That's one thing that I'm proud of. So I'm just hopping into sort of announcements, I guess. Second thing I'm proud of is that over at ABNM Studios, which is another of my things, another website I operate, my design sort of company. I've used my expertise, if you will, to help set up a website and the brand and a store, for an online store for my wife, and the things that she's created for many years and had many people enjoy, from friends to family to educators to people in the school system, people in the high-tech companies. So, proud to say that yesterday was the first full day of the opening of the store, or the launch of the store, and she's having a good time. And a lot of friends who have enjoyed these creations of my wife. So basically what it is, it's the chocolatedozen.com, and yes, it's not aligned with the NSNG lifestyle, but that's, that doesn't, that has nothing to do with anything. It's not a health food website. It's if you come in from an NSNG space, what it is like many things out there, It is something that you can take as life into living. It is a treat, and it is just one of it's just a new option, a new thing to look at and to consider if you are an NSNG person and interested at the same time of having a little life into living at the same time. If you need ideas on how you can treat people who are, regardless of being on NSNG or not, would like a treat. And we all have those people in our lives who know nothing about NSNG, who are not no sugar, no grains, who are not concerned about it, but they do try to enjoy life as much as possible, and which includes treats. I apologize for the ticking. I was just switching lanes, and quickly my voice is getting shot. So pretty proud of that. So proud. Extra proud because on the second morning of the store being open, first order trickled in, and it was a massive order, and it's something to celebrate. Very proud of my wife, and also won't lie, proud of the work that I've put in on behalf of my wife and her endeavors. This is something that people have been telling her that she should do as a business, and basically what the chocolatedozen.com is, it's sweet treats, cookies, bars, bark, things of that nature, all these baked goodies that she does really, really well, and she packages them really well, and it with every, I have to say, with every package that is created and given or sold, it's like a holiday in a package, and that's not me trying to be fancy with promotion, but there's something really, really special about what she's able to put together and share, and it's not just the package and the product, but it's the level of appreciation and joy, the feedback that comes with it. It's yes, it's not NSNG, but no doubt about it, it's there's a level of happiness that's being created, and so it's something really special. So that's the second thing that I'm proud of. The third thing, what's ting? Ting ting. The third thing that I'm proud of, and these are in no particular order of importance. The third thing I'm proud of is last weekend, the family attended an obstacle course challenge, an obstacle course run. It was geared towards children, geared towards kids. Somehow my wife found the event online and signed up the boys. Her and I have a 10 and 7-year-old, and signed them up. And the cool thing about this event is there is a competitive wave and there is a family fun wave. So we participated in the family fun wave. And with your kids signed up, parents can also run through the course along with their kids. So the event was the Subaru obstacle course run or challenge. I can't remember if it's challenge or run. It happened recently in San Mateo, California, at a place called the Coyote Point Park. I think it's called. We just call it Coyote Point. It's a big old like it's a state park along the water, and it was essentially, if I read correctly, it was a 1 mile course with about, I think 8 or 10 obstacles. And it was awesome. This is the first time running any sort of course with my boys. And so it was, my wife didn't run it, she stayed with our daughter, but our friend ran it with us, so he basically slapped on the parent wristband. So I was with one of the boys, and he was with one of the other boys. He was with the younger, and I was with the older. But I got to run alongside both of them at some point throughout the course, and it was awesome. I mean, there were some obstacles that I was able to get into, and some obstacles I just didn't want to get mixed up on because, they like the climbing hurdles there were these hurdles that kids climbed over, but I didn't think it was going to be stable enough to hold too many big people. So I just you're never required, at least for this event, you're not required to go through an obstacle. It's just fun. And the rope swings were awesome. Over a mud pit. The slide into a mud pit, the crawl under some nets over a mud pit, all that stuff was great. Stuff I got into, the rock climbing walls where you have to traverse it, not up and over and down, but across, was interesting. A sort of a web sort of a series of like bungees kind of strewn out in a structure that was like, it looked like laser security beams, but you know what I'm talking about. And it's more like a series of webs. Web is a kind of inner burp. Ew. And very proud. What I learned on that event was at least for that day, my oldest chose to run towards an obstacle with excitement and enthusiasm, and then after completing the obstacle, take his time. Just sort of walk and enjoy the view until the next obstacle comes to view. Then he'll sprint towards it, and depending on how interested the obstacle looks, he'll be really excited, or he'll be like, let's just get through it. So he was run, obstacle, walk, run, obstacle, walk sort of pattern. And my youngest, he just crushed it. He just plowed through it. In his mind, it was a race, and he didn't. I kind of feel sorry for our friend because he had to keep up with him. And but everyone had fun, and everyone got dirty. And in the end of the day, the boys donated their shoes. There's an opportunity for folks to just donate their muddy shoes to charity. And I didn't bring an extra shoe, so I basically came in and participated and left with the same shoes that I had on. And by the time we left, they were really wet. And they had been rinsed out, and they were really wet. But it didn't matter because I often have sweaty feet, FYI. And I run in the same shoes that I often wear day to day. So I've got some pretty worn out foot attire throughout the day. So it didn't make any difference to me. It didn't feel like I was in bad footwear. It was just footwear to me. That's just how this little guy rolls with footwear and his running. Yeah, so very proud of my boys, and wonder what if how their performance is any indication of what types of athletes they'll be. I don't know, man. It's still kind of too soon to tell, but it's nice to see the energy from both of them. And right when we got home, my wife started looking at what are the options there were as far as obstacle courses for kids, obstacle course challenges. Starting to get interested in having the boys get out there and challenge themselves. Back in my day, I just ran with the neighborhood kids through jungle and forest. And then as I got into my teens, just, got drunk and fell out of trees that I climbed drunk and landed on my back on a big root sticking out of the tree, give myself a backbreaker, that kind of thing, or riding a Suzuki moped and crashing it going downhill on a road as my face skids across the surface of the road, cracking my teeth and having half of my jaw super swollen, causing a lot of pain for not just for myself but for my parents. I didn't need obstacle course challenges as a kid. I just did stupid stuff and got hurt along the way. Those are my challenges. Nothing's different. Because this weekend we're rolling into another week. Well, we're sort of early in the week, but this upcoming weekend I have registered and I will attend the Berkeley Trail Adventure 50K trail run. I've talked about it many times in past episodes, and I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be my challenge to complete the course, and to complete the course before cutoff. I'll just, there's a lot of wish I could do type things that I could say, or sentiments that I could express regarding, these 50K trail runs that I do. I'm not great at them. I do tend to suffer pretty good, but we'll see. I had a blast at last May's Ohlone 50K, and I used trekking poles then, and I ran alongside a very, very kind and talented gentleman, and I learned how, despite being, Clem, I don't even remember how old you were because you just kicked my ass on that trail. I want to say 60, 70, I don't know what your age is anymore, and I've noted it, and I've talked about it in other times. I'll have to review the Ohlone 50K episode, but I watched and I observed how, how I need to have consistent effort. I can't just be like, go and then feel like, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to kind of coast and cruise, and then sort of be distracted in that mode. I need to have greater intent with my hiking with a purpose, as Roger Burris reminded me or said to me out on the trail on Ohlone. He said something along the lines of, Marshall Ulrich always said, walk with a purpose, So when I'm walking, when I'm hiking, I need to do it with a purpose. When I'm on a runnable section, I need to do it purposefully and consistently, and just kind of hold on to that state and kind of get comfortable with a level of effort that I need to do to have success. And this is just me expressing myself because I never considered myself a racer. I don't have a racer's mentality. So not trying to race people, but racing a cutoff is a race nonetheless. And it's something that I'm learning. I'm in my mid 40s, and I'm learning what it is to race. I'm not that sort of competitive guy, on a track, on a course. Just never was. So it's something I have to learn. that is all about things that I'm excited about, things that I'm looking forward to as far as running. I'm going to try and get an easy run in today, someday, I don't know, before the weekend. And other things, I was talking to my wife about things that are about upcoming things and events that we want to do, and she really wants to do something in early December, which happens to be the same day that the Hunter S. Thompson Fear and Loathing 50K and 50 miler is. And I had registered for the 50 mile on that day, and now my wife is saying that if I could not do it, it would be great, because there's an opportunity to do something with the family that she's really, really interested in. And I said, well, that's my 50 miler that I'm kind of shooting for, right? I'm shooting for the year. And the only reason why I signed up for that is because the Dick Collins 50 that I was looking at, I couldn't sign up for because some other thing was supposed to happen. So my backup was signing up for the Fear and Loathing 50 miles in December. So she says, well, that thing that you can do the Dick Collins now that the date had changed on the thing that was initially preventing you or blocking you from having to participate in it. So to paint a picture, just a few days ago, I'm looking forward to a 50K this weekend, and then working myself up to doing 50 miles early December. We're still sitting in September. Now, I haven't registered yet. It looks like now instead 50K, same 50K this weekend, and a 50 mile next month. I think that's what that is. A 50 mile in October instead of a 50 mile in December. So that pushes my date to subject my body. So October 6th is the Dick Collins 50 miler. I like it. It's close to home. It is a trail run. I do have to register. The Fear and Loathing 50 is in the city. It's through San Francisco, and it was free. So, I paid nothing with the plan of suffering 50 miles in the city, but now plans have changed, and I'm going to pay money to suffer 50 miles on a trail 2 months ahead of schedule. Sounds like a plan. So that's it. That's that. And shit. God damn it. All right. I'll leave it as that. I'm losing my voice. Thanks for catching this episode. By the time you hear this episode, I would have ran Berkeley. Maybe, depends on how I feel when I'll release this. But thanks for listening. I'm not going to talk about food. This episode, you guys are sick and tired of me talking about bone broth and paleo mushroom soup. So, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee and soothe my throat. Hug your friends, hug your family, eat something delicious, and go run something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.